Hi, everyone.
Hey,
I'm Alicia,
and I'm Meredith.
and this is Summer is Fun, a Summer House podcast, season 7, episode 5. Uh, It's
We're
fine.
we're
We're
here.
making our way downtown. It's like fine. Um, but like, thank you for joining if you're still listening to this season.
Hey, you know what? We're all in this together.
I
Just
know.
muscling through.
Okay, so
Also, I have some takes at the end from some TikToks I think we've both seen.
oh, dope. Can't wait.
Just
So,
about like the future and what we think should
yeah.
happen with the show
Amazing.
because it's clearly not in a good place.
Great. I love that. Before we get into it, check us out on the A&M Podcast Network. We have this podcast. We have It's About the Pasta, Vanderpump Rules podcast, which is fucking great. That's the podcast.
Lit.
And we have One Season Wonders. Please be sure to rate, review, subscribe. We have nothing for this podcast.
That's okay.
So
That's
can you
okay.
do
At any
it
time, we will have our arms open ready for your wonderful
to accept?
reviews.
You know what? I was listening to a podcast where they also read the reviews and they got a 5-star review with constructive criticism. And they were very
I love
happy
that.
that happened. So if you want to bash us, feel free. Like I said, leave a 5-star review for Meredith and just bash me. I don't mind. That's
Hey,
fine.
if you like a
Only have
segment,
five
if you hate
stars.
a segment, like let us
Yeah,
know.
let us know. But with 5 stars. Or else we won't take it seriously because if it's 1 star, I'm not gonna fucking do anything about it. Follow us on Instagram at Vanderpasta. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/Vanderpasta. Let me tell you what you can get. For $1 a month, you get access to our pre-shows where Meredith and I talk about whatever the hell we want. And then also you get access to any episodes we record early, including this one. It drops on the Patreon before it drops live.
Yeah, come join
Um,
us.
for $2 a month, you get access to everything I just mentioned. Plus, you get access to our after shows that we do when we go back and watch old seasons, so we could still talk about Bravo News and not spoil anything. But because this is live, we're gonna spoil everything and anything we want. So, haha. And also we'll say your name on the podcast. So thank you to Chris, Danae, Dee, Dustin, Gabriella, Jackie, Jamie, Casey, Katie, Kelsey, Chrissy, Sarah, Cameron, Tierney, Tiffany, Tonette, Tracy, Amy, April, Courtney, Emily, Gina, Jennifer, Kirsten, Christina, Ruby, and Taylor.
Woohoo!
We
I
love
love
it.
it.
That was a good one. Too bad people can't see my
I
video. I
feel
just did a
like
little
we're
dance.
finally like hosting, we've been hosting a party the whole time and like people finally showed up.
They were
Like our
fashionably
besties
late.
were here from the beginning, obviously, but like the music's pumping, like it's a good time.
Yes, it's in full swing. It's
It
hit nine
is.
o'clock. We've put 7 on the invitation.
That's
People
it.
finally showed up.
That's it. And like, because we're in live seasons, like this is
Yes.
peak performance
Yes.
Patreon. So come join.
Yeah, like Chris has been here forever. He's just hanging by the guac.
Literally
He'll
been
never
here
listen to this.
forever.
Okay, and then for $5 a month, you get access to everything I just mentioned. Plus, for live shows, you get to give us your thoughts, your questions, your comments, your concerns, literally anything you want, and we will read them on the podcast. We call it Podcast by the People,
Nice.
and we will comment. And also we'll pick a patron of the episode. So this week, let me look. I'm picking Cameron because we haven't really heard from her
Woohoo!
much, but her thing is Shrimp Warrior, and it always makes me happy. So shout out to Cameron. You're doing great things, and we appreciate you sticking with us for so long.
Cameron loves the tweets typically. We get a lot of
She
like
does. She does. I haven't posted. Listen,
fire, hearts,
there
all
was
the
a lot
things.
happening previously, but I'm gonna post the Summer House tweets right after we record this, which I'm excited about. So that will be something for Cameron to look forward to. So thank you, Cameron.
I love that. Yeah, it's been a
Um,
busy week. I feel like I finally regrouped after the weekend and I'm back to like
I feel
normal
refreshed.
Bravo, like can give my energy
Yeah, with all
again.
the I know this isn't the show, but with all the Vanderpump Rules scandal
It's been
happening,
exhausting.
I was a zombie for a good week and a half. This weekend was really nice to recuperate.
Yes.
I'm back. I feel like I
Back,
did
baby.
before. Yeah, my soul's back in my body.
Agreed.
Okay, is that it? Should we get into the episode? No, we have Patreon by the people.
Oh,
Or
give it.
God damn it, podcast by the people.
I
Fire
love
me. Will you
that
fire me
you
already?
can't get it together. It's actually
Someone
one of my
fire
favorite
me.
things.
Literally, someone fire me. I say that whenever I forget to post in the Patreon. I'm like, God, Meredith should have fired me. I'm late.
I've seen that lately.
Someone fire me. Anyway, Tonette said, I feel like Carl and Lindsay's relationship seems more of a business relationship than a romantic to complete Lindsay's life checklist to get married and have children. Yeah, there's something uncomfortable about this relationship. And it's not when they interact. It's when they like have sex and shit. It's super weird.
It just feels a little bit more forced. It doesn't feel natural when they like kiss or like say what
I
other
love
like little
you.
complimentary things to each other. It just feels a little bit like
Yeah, like
a little too intentional. Does that
I
make
think,
sense?
yes, I think whenever in their relationship, they're like friendship or like the strength of their actual relationship comes out, I think that is great. I hate when Lindsay puts on an outfit or like tries to be sexy or they look at each other and go, should we? And they
I,
just go, fuck, really? It's super like not it.
I'm actually wondering if it's because we didn't get like any slow burn with them. We got like an episode or two at the end of last season, and now we are like full-fledged in a relationship, living together. Like even on Winter House, we got 5 seconds of them and not really
Yeah,
coupley things.
yeah, and as Meredith and I know from TV shows that where writers actually write it, we love a slow burn. We love to see it
Yeah.
build. And I know we kind of saw it build a little, but like we missed that whole middle part of falling in love. We went
Yes.
straight from do we have feelings to we're so obsessed with each
To
other.
a nurse's costume is how we opened this season. Let's not
So weird.
forget.
Blech. Okay. So that thank you, Tona. I kind of agree. So then we have Gabriella. She says she has 4 points. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I think the conversation that Maya had with Sam was probably executed better than it came across. I could see Maya trying to help her out in a way of like, hey, we are on TV and they are going to edit you this way. And that's why she pulled her into the pantry. Like she didn't try to make it a confrontation thing. Do you have something to say? Do you want
That's
to
true.
interrupt?
She like didn't put it on camera. So sometimes I do wonder if people forget about their mic packs or think, oh, there's no footage to go with this. They're not going to use it.
Maybe. She says also, I think Maya is the most recent new person and just wanted to help out a fellow new girl.
Mm,
That's why she said, don't get in your head, i.e., don't let it affect how you feel on camera. The off camera nature of this conversation felt more like a, hey, girl, I'm trying to help you out. Plus, Lindsay had already made that comment public, so she knew it would become a thing or it could become a thing.
I
I
don't think
think
it
that's
was
fair.
ill
That's a good point.
intentioned. Yeah. And the thing is, we
No,
don't
I
know the
just think it
body
was,
language. Like, what if she was like rubbing her
yeah,
arm and like, I don't know. I
that's really
think
true.
I think the timing we agree is
Was
was
weird.
terrible.
I kind of forgot about this conversation. That's how little effect it had on me. But I think you're right, if I'm remembering it
That's a
correctly.
good note about Maya being the most recent new person,
Yeah,
though.
I didn't even think about that. And
Mm,
Maya, we've never seen be like an ill intent
no.
person. So yeah, Gabriella, point to you. I think you're right on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, number two. I don't like the slightly sexist take of Lindsay and Carl's ear and Amanda and Kyle's ear. Like in both cases, why is it always the woman's fault? Last time I checked, these were grown-ass men who are upwards of 30 to 40 who can make their own decisions. Even if they are listening to significant others, the men are the ones who should be held accountable. Yes, Meredith and I just
100%
talked
agree.
on the pre-show how men are not the fucking victims. Okay, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, I really actually like in later this episode, Amanda says, Kyle, you got to stop letting me and Lindsay's beef even affect your relationship with
Yes.
Carl. Like, take a step back.
Literally, these are the most embarrassing 40-year-old men. I think
This,
Carl even
it
says
is
he's
bad.
37, so he's well upward of 30.
Kyle
Um,
looks like he's having a tantrum the rest of this episode, or like the beginning of this episode.
yeah, and Carl like looks okay, but also as a 37-year-old, and I know we're in like a sober place, but like in general, generally speaking, as a 37-year-old, we should be able to have conversations and not like flee the house, you know? Um,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
and I
weird,
also
weird place.
I don't like Kyle putting this on Lindsay. I don't like Carl saying Amanda's wrong. Like, no, just shut the fuck up and sit down.
Yeah,
We're gonna squeeze the toxic masculinity out of all the men. We're
100%.
just gonna
As a Lindsay
squeeze.
like blamer, I'll say, self-proclaimed. Like, this
I'm a
isn't
Lindsay
Lindsay's
stan.
fault.
Okay, but I'm angry because I'm a Lindsay stan and I find myself not rooting for her, but I think it's because
Oh,
I'm
I'm
not
not
rooting for
rooting for
anyone.
her, but I'm just saying, like, Kyle's take on like constantly saying this is Lindsay's fault. I'm like,
Horrible.
dude,
Just shut up.
let it go.
Just shut up.
Yeah.
Anyway, point number 3. I get that the last couple of seasons, Carl had this great edit and we stand the growth, but he also has flaws and we have to remember that. He never had much of a backbone. He never enjoyed confrontation. These are the things to just keep in mind. No, you're right.
Oh man, you're so right.
Maybe that's why he fled the house.
I've never thought about that. Think of all the stuff with Lauren. Like, he could never tell her no. Like, they weren't going to have anything. This is
You're
basically
right.
that version, just friendship.
Yeah, you're right.
He's doing exactly what he did to Lauren, to Kyle, just not romantically. He's doing it business and personally.
Yeah, Carl's not. I mean, given again, we love the
Good
growth,
point.
but I do think that there are not a lot of great men on this show, right? So I think the bar is very low.
I think in the
And
whole
so,
Bravo universe, there's
yeah,
very
for sure.
few.
So unfortunately, to see Carl even like become sober and work on himself, which is what most people should just do, I feel like I'm always like, yes, look at this man.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You know what? We have to keep it in mind. So maybe we'll shit on the men a little bit more.
It's like the
We
perspective
appreciate-
of it. Like, Carl is
Yes.
doing better, but he's just fixed his like sobriety
Yes.
house, not
From
his
now-
communication house.
From now on, if we ever think a man did a good thing, we're gonna go, does this compare to Andrea? And if the answer is yes, then that's a good thing. And if the answer is no, then you're still
Good point.
trash.
Good point.
And then number 4, I always notice that Lindsay centers herself in a lot of her sentences, even the iconic ones. How many sandwiches have you made for me? With the whole Maya situation was, why didn't you ask me about how I was doing being sober? Or even in the last episode, no one asks how I feel.
Mhm.
Just an observation. I'm not denying the gang up, but Lindsay has a history of being kind of thoughtless and self-involved.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes. I
No
think
notes.
last season was the case study for it even.
Literally no notes. You're right. I just love it. I think
I
it's
love the
fucking
perspective
hilarious.
you're bringing though, because it's so easy to focus on exactly what's happening in the here and now and not the bigger picture. So I like seeing the bigger picture and being like, you know what, you're right. You're right.
Yep, no notes. Okay, but she ends and says, I think this is all my thoughts for now, but yeah, I think there are a lot of nuances that play out in this. God, I need to get a life. No, you don't. No.
It's okay.
Life.
This is called a hobby.
We chose to live this life and we welcome you in it with us.
No shame.
We appreciate your perspective because Meredith and I, a lot of the times, do not think outside of our own little box.
No, I forget who I DM'd this to, but somebody in the last like month was like, wow, I just watched this show way too much, whatever. And I was like, listen, you didn't start a podcast over it. So you're doing better than me.
Guess who's rewatching seasons and taking notes? That's where the problem lies.
You're good. You're just on an active, like normal watching basis. So
and
like you're fine.
You like help make the podcast better. Like you truly are doing God's work. So thank you so much. And the last one's from our buddy Dustin. He's back.
Hell
baby.
yes.
He says, yeah, Carl and Hubs have a weird vibe to me. Like they're friends who fuck or almost like siblings who bang.
No, don't do that because we have a running joke when I'm drinking with one of my family friends that she's a brother fucker. And she obviously hates it. But that is so funny because now I'm going to just picture that they're siblings. Siblings who fell in love, even if they're like adopted siblings.
Oh my God, it sounds like a weird porno. We don't have to do this. Okay, so he finishes and says, like, it's a really weird vibe, but if it works for them, then who am I to balk at love? No, yeah, for sure. We're loveless over here, so we probably shouldn't be judging. But also,
yeah, but like you're on my screen.
Love I want.
You're opening it up for judgment. If you don't, I am happy for you off screen. But on screen, I'm sorry, I gotta give my thoughts and opinions.
If I ever have a serious long-term relationship, he will never be on my Instagram because I can never open up to public ridicule now.
I know exactly what you mean.
I know how bad people are. It's me. I'm the bad one.
Hi, it's me.
I'm the problem. Swifties unite. Anyway, let's get into this episode. Thank you for your feedback. That was good feedback, y'all.
10 out of 10
That was
podcast by the
great.
people.
And we'll finish off with some after this episode, but let's get into it. So previously on Summer House, Andrea's back, baby. That's it. No, I'm just kidding, but that should be it. Sierra and Chris are kind of flirting, but Chris is kind of bad at flirting. Carl doesn't feel like he's valued at work. Kyle thinks it's all Lindsay's fault. Carl and Kyle agreed to stay cordial, but then Lindsay feels that whatever happens, it's still going to be her fault. So Lindsay and Amanda aren't getting along. Danielle says in a game that she trusts Amanda the least, and Amanda's really offended, but also she's going through some stuff. So she sobs and storms to her room, and then Kyle gets involved and he yells at Carl and Lindsay, and then he calls Lindsay an asshole and a bitch, and Carl says nothing, which makes Danielle fucking mad. It is though, like, imagine if we said this podcast is going to be only 30 minutes, right? And we just kind of read everything that happens like that. Fucking hilarious.
It's so chaotic, and I don't know why, but I'm so happy. I was pissed last episode that we ended with the to be continued, but I really enjoyed picking up in the middle of this fight because the emotions were gone for me, and I just thought this was hilarious at this point.
You want to know my favorite part is when the fun, happy music is playing with shots around the Hamptons, and then it cuts to Kyle like screaming into the abyss. Hilarious. The editing is top.
Oh,
okay,
God.
So it is Saturday, 10:22 p.m. Kyle storms out. Danielle yells at Carl for not saying anything to Kyle, and Carl's not going to step in because it's pathetic, and Kyle's drunk, and Danielle's like sobbing now, and she's like, I'm gonna go find Amanda. Which, like,
I find it so funny that Danielle is so upset because Kyle wasn't screaming at Danielle specifically like she was to Lindsay.
I think Danielle, and listen, I've been this friend, right? It's always been you and your bestie, you and your bestie, you and your bestie. Your bestie gets a boyfriend. You expect the boyfriend to go as hard for your bestie as you would. Boys act different, right? Because if boys start yelling, there's gonna be fists thrown, Danielle.
Yeah.
So I get where Danielle is coming from, but it is so funny to watch this just being like, why are you mad, Danielle? It's like, okay.
Yeah, like it's gonna be okay.
Like, it makes sense to not fight with a drunk person.
100%. I see why Carl's doing it, and I understand why Danielle wants Carl to like fight for her girl, like Danielle's best friend.
I get both sides.
But then I'm
totally
like, girlie, you can't care more than they do.
Yeah, I get both sides.
I think it's finally hitting her though after that conversation with the girls the weekend prior.
You want to know what I think?
Of like, they won't even ride for themselves as hard as you ride for them.
I think it's hitting Danielle, and she's trying to prove like, no, I'm riding just as hard as you. I'm not riding harder.
Yeah.
And she's seeing, and that's why she starts crying, because she's upset, because she's realizing I look stupid.
I'm actively throwing myself under the bus, and you won't even lay your life down for your own life.
Yeah. So Danielle's gonna go find Amanda, which not welcome, but what a decision to make.
I think it's a smart thing to be like, I need to go fix things with Amanda.
Again, though, we are drunk, and
good point.
Feelings are at a full 10. It's not necessary. So Amanda's sobbing in her room. She just wants to go home to her dogs. And then Danielle, of course, announces herself as she's walking up the stairs going, Amanda. And so Maya hears her and is like, absolutely not. And like cuts, into the door and is like, no,
it's not.
Danielle.
Yeah.
Can't. And listen, I think this was a smart decision, but I did see a tweet that was like, God damn it, Maya, like, we're here to see Messi. Just let Danielle through the fucking door or something like that. And I was like, yeah, for sure. As a viewer,
for sure. I do want to see it for ending the like chaos. I think it would have resolved itself the same the next day, no matter what the conversation was here.
I would have been Maya in this situation, but I hate myself because of that, because that's the right decision. And I'm here to watch the wrong decision. Right. So, Kyle's screaming outside to the abyss, as Gabby calls it.
I cackled so hard at this, and Gabby coming out being like, what are you doing?
Shut up. No one can hear. No one's listening to you. You're screaming into nothing. And he's like, I don't care. I'm screaming. It's Lindsay's fault. And she's like, that's
that
great.
Girl inside.
That's great, dude. Shut up for 2 seconds. Okay. So then inside, Carl is like going upstairs. He chucks his mic down the stairs, which
I was
unnecessary,
like, dude,
but
what?
okay.
Where did that anger come from? Like, I know you're upset probably with what Kyle said, but are you just done with the show now?
Yeah,
Like,
are you quitting?
what is happening?
Are you done? So he goes to his room. He's frustrated that Kyle is yelling at Lindsay like that, but Kyle's also his friend and his boss. So Danielle, take that into consideration super quick.
Yeah, that is a
Also,
tricky, especially after
yes.
you're already having work fights, to add in a personal fight too.
Yes. Do I think Kyle would understand, like, this is a show, tensions run high, we have to kind of do this? If Carl did yell back at him, sure. But I also think Carl is a sober person, is like, I'm not going to fight with my boss on TV. Like, that sounds crazy.
Yeah. I think Kyle would forgive anything in this moment since
I
it's
think
a drunk
he can
fight.
separate.
Yes.
He can separate if
And
Kyle is good at one thing, he is great at making sure the show is the show and outside the show is like not the show.
I agree with that,
You
but I
know?
also think because of their friendship, Kyle would give Carl any type of passes in moments like these, even if it was serious, of like, all right,
Yeah.
well, like you said, they separated, so like we got work to do still. We'll just find a way forward. But I think Carl is sober and is thinking so rationally that like, I don't care if Kyle will forgive me. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to put myself in this situation.
I also think drunk Kyle would say things that he was going to regret. So maybe Carl's like, I don't want to hear him.
Yeah. Like, why level this up even more?
Yeah. So Carl's initial instinct is to fight, and he doesn't want to live like that anymore, which that's great. If your initial instinct is to yell, that I support. But if you're going to throw punches, let's not, because Kyle's not going to defend himself. He's just going to keep yelling.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kyle's still yelling about how Lindsay's
this goes on for so long. Kyle just like walking around the yard yelling.
Know. And do you think Gabby's out there the whole time?
Yes,
like,
she is out there for a good chunk of it, being like, listen. She's like talking to him like kind of firmly, like a raised voice, but not yelling at him, being like, what are you doing?
So funny. Yeah, so Lindsay's inside knowing that she has to take the blame for everything, right? She says she texted Amanda and nothing happened. And if Amanda cared, they would talk. And Sam's listening to her, and Sam's like, maybe Amanda feels the same way. Like, maybe you're just having a miscommunication. And Lindsay's a little activated because she starts yelling at Sam, like, well, what about me, Sam? Which is what Gabby was saying. It was like, well, my feelings are this.
Yes. This kind of like upset me on Lindsay's side because Amanda has said that we've already seen Amanda say that she texted Lindsay back. She heard nothing back. Like after Lindsay reached out with her feelings, I'll say. So I don't like that Lindsay is trying to frame this to Sam as like nothing came of texting Amanda.
When Amanda reads the text, we can get to my thought on this. But basically, at the end, Lindsay does one of those head punches, like, what now? And I was like, Sam has done nothing.
Yes, I was thinking that, like,
fuck? All
right, this is just like Gabby outside with Kyle. Like, you're kind of yelling at the wrong party here. And Lindsay, like, I didn't understand where like this was coming from 100% towards Sam, because Sam was just saying like, hey, like, let's try and like settle this up and like figure a way forward. And Lindsay's like, are you kidding me? I'm the injured party here.
It's that head thing that you do when you're like, what now? That to me is fighting. I would have been like, sit your ass back down.
I asked Sam would have been like, fuck you. Like, I'm not gonna help you at all then.
I love Lindsay, but I would have stepped up at the, you are fighting me then. If you're head punching
I would
me,
be
we're
pissed. Like, you've got another enemy right here now.
You just stepped up, and I can't deny that.
You activated me.
So Kyle's still yelling outside. I didn't take notes on what he was saying because I probably didn't understand it. Anyway,
it's a lot.
Danielle is so upset that Carl did not say anything. Like beyond herself. And they're all in the kitchen now. And Lindsay's like, yeah, but Carl like can't say anything to Kyle, you know, because like work and shit. And Danielle's like, I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm done. And Lindsay's like, in her interview, Lindsay's like, do I wish Carl said something? Sure. Do I wish he stood up for me? Yeah, but like he's still figuring out how to communicate his emotions as a sober person.
I think Danielle needed to hear that interview in the moment.
I agree, but instead Lindsay's like, whatever.
It's no big deal.
Lindsay doesn't say anything for once in her life.
Yes.
Right? Like,
I was like shocked by Lindsay's reaction to Danielle.
Like, whatever.
And I think that took Danielle by surprise and kind of made her more upset. Like, what
I'm
the
sorry.
fuck? Why does nobody care about this?
Lindsay literally gets mad if there's not ham and cheese on bread in front of her. Of course, we think she would get mad at this.
Yes.
So
this was so confusing if you were Danielle, like her bestie. Like, wait a minute. You're mad but not mad? I'm confused.
Imagine if you're just tuning in, right? It's like, why is Danielle getting this mad? Why is Lindsay not mad? But she's kind of upset in her interview, but like not. And like,
and last
wild.
episode, if you're new to this season, but like last episode, you see Lindsay screaming at guys. Like, also, we got all those flashbacks.
Yeah, she's about to fight Sam. I'm very confused.
It's her emotions are not tracking well to all the different situations.
I was just about to say, like, emotions are crazy, aren't they?
They are. And I feel like Lindsay's trying to just go along with whatever Carl is doing and publicly not be mad at him.
Yeah, which is fair, but you know, it's confusing for us as viewers.
Yes.
Gabby says she's too old for this and it's only week 3. And then Lindsay's like, imagine me after 7 years, and cackles. And Gabby's like, okay, I didn't ask, but also it does not have to be like this.
Yeah.
Like Gabby's like, I don't give a fuck about your 7 years. I'm on week 3 and I'm upset.
I don't want this. I don't want this.
You should be tired after 7 years. I'm new and fresh and I'm exhausted.
Yeah. Let's not do this again. I don't want, like, Gabby's probably like, I don't want 7 years of this.
Sam, Chris, and Gabby's group chat is wild right now. They're just like, what the fuck is this place?
I can't imagine like the car rides home or like once they're in the city
the
alone.
3 of them. Yes. The 3 of them need therapy now. Yeah. So Sam goes to check on Amanda and lay with her. And then Amanda reads us the text that happened, right? So Lindsay on May 17th said, well, Carl works for us, ... But he's, oh shit, I got it wrong. Whoops. I wrote, but he's disappointed, which is not right. It's like, but he's our employee or something like that. And then she also said, wow, I'm beyond hurt and disappointed by this. That's where disappointed came from. And then Amanda says, I'm sorry that I hurt you. I was feeling frustrated, but I also understand you're his girlfriend and he's going to and should stand up for you. The least I can do right now is say that I am sorry. And then Amanda got no response. And this is what I think, because I kind of hate this.
Wait, really quick. That May 17th is the week the second reunion aired, by the way. So like this is right when the reunion happens. I just looked it up.
Oh, dope. Okay. Great. So that's clearly when this was said. Lindsay then immediately texted Amanda, said her feelings. Amanda says the least I can do right now is say that I am sorry. I don't love this apology, right?
I don't either.
Okay, because if I'm sitting here and being like, oh, Meredith, I should apologize. You're gonna be like, okay, so do it. Yeah. Right? That's what this felt like. It's like,
I wish Lindsay would have responded though.
And been like, so say you're sorry.
The fact that she left this hanging, I feel like that's where like Lindsay's fault lies. And then Amanda's fault is just not doing a solid apology from the beginning.
Yeah, this is a bullshit apology. I would probably ignore this if I was Lindsay.
But if you're going to then go into the house, I feel like you got to address it you either got to address it with her.
On camera.
Yes, 100% agree. But I feel like Lindsay came into the house, didn't address this. Amanda, when she came into the house, that first episode, came in and was like, there was some beef, but like, I've dropped it. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I guess I don't fault Amanda for not approaching Lindsay. Because if Lindsay really, Lindsay should be the one.
I don't fault Amanda for not following back up.
Yes, but I do think this was a bullshit apology on Amanda's part.
Agreed.
Great. So, okay. Then Lindsay goes to bed. She says, hi, babe. And Carl's like, hey, sorry for not speaking up. Like, I didn't want to fight with someone who's been drinking all day. This is the part of their relationship I like, right? He's open and honest immediately. And then it gets weird because Lindsay's like, okay, just know I'm not upset with you. And Carl's like, well, I'm not upset with you. And she's like, okay, but no, like, I'm also not upset with you. And he's like, I'm also not. And I was like,
what are we doing?
Who the fuck cares? We're not upset. Let's fucking move on.
It's like they're trying to prove to each other that they're so invested in this relationship.
I love you. No, I love you.
It reads insecure to me.
It reads weird.
Like, you really have to say it 100 times to make sure we know as viewers that you guys aren't mad at each other and you're in a good place.
Gabriella really fucked up my thing of Lindsay of using I statements because she did say, like, I'm not upset with you, which I think is fair. Carl says, great, I'm not upset with you. And then Lindsay goes, well, just no, I'm not upset with you. And I was like, shut the fuck up. We got it. We know what your
Yeah,
feelings are.
Lindsay always comes from like
The I
a
statements.
me
Yeah,
perspective, and I noticed last year.
I don't
Now when
because I
I
love
say
her.
I'm cringing when I say the word I. But
I
last
love it.
year during the Sierra debacle on like Italian night stuff is when I was like, she can't see other
I
people's perspectives.
I remember none of this because I'm such a Lindsay stan. Okay.
It's always bothered me. That's why I'm not a Lindsay stan.
So Kyle says he probably should. Oh, Kyle goes to bed, right? He's
Mhm.
in a room with Amanda, and he's like, I probably shouldn't have said what I said, but I don't regret it. And then we cut to Carl, and Carl's like, Kyle doesn't want more from me. I could bury him. And I was like, yo, whoa,
I
where
was
did
like,
he come from?
whoa,
Then
we're
do it.
at level 10 right now of like shit's about to hit the fan. I
You know
think
what,
Kyle
Carl? If
doesn't
he,
regret saying it because it's like
it had
bubbling
to get
up and
out there.
out. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think his position is right, but I
No.
understand that he's kind of like just it
My
it's
feelings
too
are there.
much.
I
Yeah.
let out my feelings.
Yeah.
Carl, though, you can't say on TV you're gonna bury someone and not do it. Give us the receipts. Let's see it. Let's bury his
Or like
ass.
allude to something. Like I understand if you're still trying to be sober, like logical person, but then like give me a little bit more than like I could bury him.
Bury his ass. Let's hear it. Anyway, now it's Sunday, 10:31 a.m. Everyone's body's hurt. We see Andrea's ass. Shout out.
He wears
Um,
tiny little underwear.
yeah, it's hot. Fuck yeah.
I don't actually really like it. I mean, he's Italian, so I let it go, but it's just not for me. The little tiny and the whitey that are not white, but like the little underwear.
As someone who does not get to see Andrea's ass on a regular basis because he's not dating me, I'm gonna take any chance I get to see
No,
that
I
body.
get the taking the
Fuck,
chance, but on like a
let's see
man,
it.
I don't want to be
No,
with someone who wears underwear like that.
it's okay. I'll do if it's Andrea, I'll do it. He can wear whatever. Um, Amanda wishes that she didn't care about the fight, but she does. And Kyle said he wasn't saying mean things, but pretty accurate things. And Amanda's like, look, you need to let me and Lindsay have our beef. You cannot
Yes.
let that fucking affect you, man. So Carl doesn't want to talk or communicate with anyone. He doesn't want this. Kyle isn't someone he can call a friend. He's done.
I was
Done.
shocked that this was so intense still when they woke up. I thought it would settle a little bit.
Yeah. I appreciated Kyle just being like, I don't know what I said. It was
Yeah.
fine. But Carl's like, I'm gonna fucking bury his
And
ass.
that
Fuck
goes to show that
him.
like saying something drunk, it's a lot easier for the drunk people to like let it go
Move on.
because you don't
Yeah.
really remember it as much. The sober person takes it all to heart.
And Kyle got his feelings out. Carl didn't.
True.
So Maya's on the phone with Oliver. She tells Oliver what happened in that night. She goes, hey, do you remember that fight with Craig and Lindsay I told you about? And we get a flash. And we didn't see my favorite part when Craig calls Lindsay a loser. It's just so funny. But we do get some of the fight. But Maya does say this was nothing compared to last year, which is wild.
No, last year was nothing compared to this year.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, which I
Sorry.
agree. Like for
You should
everybody
fire
else,
me.
the fight last year was just like a lot of yelling, but the fight this year, like you were involved in it all. Like you were sitting there with everyone. Ugh.
And it was rough. Anyway, Danielle's ready to talk to Amanda about last night, but first we're gonna go make pizza rolls for breakfast because that's how
You know
hungover we
what?
are.
You deserve that.
I love pizza rolls. I'll fucking fight about it. They're
I
so good.
love pizza rolls. They also have pizza bagels on the counter. So I was like, get everything.
All of it.
Do you have some frozen French fries? Just
All of
load
it.
up on the carbs.
Pizza rolls are my favorite thing. So Maya does check in with Amanda. They hug, and I think Amanda really looked like she needed this fucking hug. She looked rough.
I
She was
know.
happy to hug. Chris says last night was bad. Summer in the Hamptons are supposed to be fun. We haven't had enough fun. And you know what? I support Chris, and I've been seeing a lot of hate on Chris in the tweets, and I'm pissed about it. And other people are pissed about it too, because it's like this is why no men want to join this cast. And also,
What is he
how
getting
come
hate on?
he's boring? He's not in. He's so stupid. He's not bringing any drama. But here's the fucking thing, right? he's trying to make this a fun fucking show.
Yes.
Also, we keep repeatedly doing this with the men of color on this show. We
Good
did
point.
it to Alex. We're doing it to Chris. Do I think Alex was meant for this show?
I think Alex was
No.
actually boring.
I think he was great at reunions, right? But he was that health guy that's not going to eat pizza rolls.
That's
the
thing. His lifestyle did not align with a summer house.
But he was fine.
I
have no hate towards Alex. I think Chris could be great. I think he is trying to be great. He's bringing some sort of drunkenness. He's the one saying we have to go out.
That's the thing. He is bringing the vibes. They're not showing drama. And I understand people want drama, but there is drama happening. And that's what they're showing. If this fight was never happening, I think people would be talking about like, Chris, do you like anyone? Like we would be following that type of storyline. But right now we don't have newbie storylines because we are in OG nuclear war right now.
Yes. And think of some of our favorite episodes of Summer House. It's when they're doing drunk shit. When Kyle's eating drunk in the kitchen. Chris could eat drunk in the kitchen.
And this is proving it. Chris is saying like, we've only had a little bit of fun this summer. And I'm like, thank you, Chris. Like you know that something's off and it needs more and you're ready to do it.
Yeah. Remember when Chris slowly made his way up the stairs? That was fucking hilarious. He is great. You are just not seeing it. And we have to leave the men of color alone. Let him live.
People have to ask the questions. Like later in this episode, somebody asked Chris, like, oh, have you been going on dates? Like somebody has to actually ask you that to be able to bring it on camera.
And Bravo has to put it in the episode.
And it takes a while as a newbie to get to like actually make friends with these people. So that like you are asking real friend questions. So we got to give newbies a break.
I'm done with the upwards of 30 and 40-year-old white men arguing about nothing into the abyss. Okay. Yes. I want Chris. So lay off his ass. Anyway, that's my little rant. Anyway, Andrea, he's very happy he got to see everyone and meet everyone new. Andrea asked Gabby what your type of man is. And Gabby says, you are. And he's like, oh, thanks.
This was fun because it was like an honest conversation, but Andrea probably is so used to people being into him that it's not a harsh deflection, but he like lets it roll off of him really easily without leading a girl on.
Yeah, and it's not like oh no, Lexi's gonna be jealous. No, he's like, thanks so much. Yeah, Lexi's got a hot boyfriend,
and he's like, I've got friends for you.
And Gabby's not flirting, right? She's just like, you are. If you have anyone that
it was a simple question.
Like
what type of guy do you like? I like guys like you. I've got guys for you.
Andrea literally says, I have guys in Italy that would date you.
I'm up. She's like, I'm ready, Andrea.
She's like, let's go.
Ready.
Me too. I was like, wait, someone get me in this episode of Summer House.
Take me to Italia.
That's my literal dream, is to date these Italian men. Okay, so we're pooling it today because I think it's Sunday at 10:30. I did say that. Okay, we're pooling it today on a Sunday.
I missed this. They also have not been doing this lately.
Yes, let's pool a little bit. Let's have some fun in the pool.
Yeah.
Lindsay and Carl are packing. Andrea brings tea to Sierra.
Redemption, Andrea. Redemption for my blocking last week.
You better fucking regret that, Meredith.
I don't, because I wanted the charm. I didn't get it last episode. I felt it this episode.
And then Sierra gets the best hug from him, and it's beautiful.
Sierra literally says like something along the lines of, I missed this. I've been waiting for this. And me too, Sierra. Me too.
Same. I loved every second of this. I could have watched a whole fucking show of him.
I need Andrea to teach like Chris to do this. I would love this.
Yeah.
If Chris would start doing stuff like this.
If anyone wants to give Andrea a show offer, just like a 30-minute thing, him bringing tea to people, I think
a little series
really
on like
cute.
The Bravo Insta and TikTok. Incredible. Like that guy on TikTok, Chris Olsen, like brings people coffee. We need an Andrea version on Bravo.
This would just be different because Andrea would have to be like, he would make the tea and the coffee, right? He would bring it to them and then spend time with them, and we would see that.
Like a little interview segment.
Yeah, like a cute 15 minutes.
Can you imagine at like the Real Housewives reunions, he picks someone on the cast and he shows up with coffee and like chit chats with them?
Why doesn't he bring out all the drinks and the coffees and stuff?
Incredible.
At the end, he is the solo bartender I want.
I think it needs to be behind the scenes, like he's just in. I don't think it needs to be on camera.
He warms them up. He like goes, he's like, how are you feeling today?
Yes.
Oh my god, I'm obsessed with him. Anyway, okay. Danielle finds Carl with his bags going out to the car, and she's like, "Why the fuck are you leaving?" And he's like, "I'm just done. I'm done. I don't need to deal with this. I'm 37 fucking years old." And he leaves. And Danielle's like, "Okay." Danielle and Sam are like, "Okay, bye."
Yeah, I think they were like, oh, I thought we all woke up and we're
I
gonna be
thought we
over
would
this.
talk about it
It's
on
weird to
camera.
have him more upset now than last night.
Yeah. And like what normally happens when we fight is we're forced to talk about it tomorrow on camera. We get no
Mm-hmm.
resolution here. It's over. It's done. We just
This him
assume that
saying like I'm too old for this. I don't need to scream and yell anymore. I'm like, I understand that, and that
that's the
is why
show.
you shouldn't be on this show.
That's the show. I'm just gonna assume that Kyle and Carl slack like nothing's wrong at work on Monday.
Jesus Christ,
Right?
I
Like there's
can't
nothing to do.
imagine.
So Amanda's up and she leaves her room and she sees Danielle in her room. So they go, she
This
goes
is
in.
so funnily cut because
We don't have
Danielle
a
goes in the
video.
bathroom, so you don't get footage of them together,
Yes.
like going into the bathroom. So they have
Which
to do
is
the arrow thing and be like,
so
Danielle's
weird.
room in there.
In the bathroom. So they do hug. Danielle apologizes and says she didn't expect any of this. Amanda says she can forgive Danielle because she feels her apologies are sincere and she knows Danielle's a protective person and just wants to be a good friend. But man, Danielle is fighting Lindsay's battles like no other.
She is.
She is. I mean,
Like Danielle didn't have a reason last night of why Amanda was untrustworthy.
yeah. Just because of what'd she say? Because of like things that have happened, because of past experiences.
Yes.
Okay, Sierra goes into Kyle and Amanda's room. They're ready to go, but Kyle wanted to talk to Carl, but him and Lindsay are gone. And Kyle doesn't know what to do anymore because he wishes he could bite his tongue because he knows he was wrong last night. And I think Kyle really just didn't want to apologize, but they fucking fled the house.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I think Kyle also knows Kyle's good at just knowing this show, like knows what needs to be done
yes.
too, and knows that we need resolution on camera. And like you said, typically on a Sunday morning, we'd get like the Danielle thing. We talked about it on Sunday morning, and then they went into their week. If they resolve this in the city, it's going to be weird to put this on camera in the Back to the City segment.
And producers might not even be there for that. Like they'd be
Yeah,
like, you guys did it on a work call, like we weren't there.
exactly.
Or whatever.
I need Carl and Lindsay to either show up and decide to be on the show 100% or to just leave it.
Yeah, we can't do this. I'm too old for this. Then get out. Then
Yeah,
leave.
if you're gonna be too mature,
Go
then
be
like
old.
cut it off.
Go be old. Okay, it's Sunday, 12:23 p.m. Pool day with pool outfits. Andrea's whole body, his whole like chest is out, and we love it. And people do start leaving, meaning Amanda and Kyle say bye to everyone, say bye to Andrea. They obviously invite him back if he's ever in town again. He's also grateful that the fight wasn't until after the Italian dinner, which is a win in my book.
I think Andrea does come back
Andrea leaves.
Yeah, but I think Andrea
Andrea
does
leaves.
come back for another weekend. I think at BravoCon he said he comes for 2 weekends.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
my dream. But Andrea does leave. He's the one leaving. Ciao, Andrea. Come back and love us.
Arrivederci.
That's Spanish.
Well, get off my back. I said the right one afterwards.
Ciao.
That's just a greeting all around, by the way.
Yeah, you'd be like, bye, ciao.
It's a hello, it's a goodbye, it's an everything.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Ciao, baby. Okay, we're back in New York after our pool party. So it's Monday. Gabby's riding City Bike in heels, which is fucking wild.
This
Gabby.
takes me back to like the OG seasons of like them doing
Same.
weird stuff in the city, and I loved this.
My favorite was the calls when they're just like,
They're
yeah, I can
fake
have those
calls.
numbers. I can have those numbers to you by Thursday. I'll put it in a pivot table, no worries. And I'm like, who the hell are you talking to on your lunch break?
God.
Like if we're in and out, this was before COVID. We're gonna be in an office working.
I don't know. I used to actually take phone calls whenever I used to walk home after work in Chicago.
What? No,
Yeah, I used to talk to my sales rep a lot.
This is in the day.
He was
though.
West
This
Coast
is
though.
in the
He was West
this was
Coast, so
in
mine
the
makes
middle
sense.
of the day.
Yeah.
They're like walking off the subway in a full-on phone call. You don't get signal down there.
No, you don't.
Ma'am. Anyway, okay, Kyle's on Slack and he's calling people saying, "Did you see my Slack?" Which is hilarious. And then Gabby Sam and Gabby's sister Danielle play tennis.
This is terrible because real Danielle comes in. So can we just call her the sister?
I call her Sister Danielle
Okay.
versus Danielle.
Okay.
So Sister Danielle and Gabby are super codependent because they're best friends, and Gabby really misses her best friend because remember, Sister Danielle moved to Atlanta.
No, I thought it was New Orleans. I think it's New Orleans.
Oh, Sierra's from Atlanta. Sorry,
yes.
we got these Southern gals.
I was just in New Orleans, so this is
right.
tagged to my brain. I fucking love New Orleans.
Okay. Their dad wanted them to be the next Venus and Serena Williams, so they grew up playing tennis.
I love that.
And honestly, they're pretty good watching it. Sam's struggling a little bit. Sam did not play tennis.
I loved watching when Danielle comes, like her trying to play, because this is me. I would be Danielle and Sam, but I would love to learn.
Yeah, Danielle shows up. She can't play tennis. Sister Danielle, well, they take a break because let's be honest, Danielle and Sam suck, and Sister Danielle and Gabby
Danielle
are amazing.
Housemate Danielle literally said she just bought this outfit for this event, and I'm like, I love that, girlie. You look fabulous.
She looks great. I don't have a tennis outfit either because I don't play tennis.
No.
So I get it. But so they all sit down. Sister Danielle is sad she's not going to make it to the house. We learned that Gabby's work week has been so crazy. She's between 2 job offers. Thank God she has therapy tomorrow. We support.
I feel this, girlie. I feel this.
Gabby has been working in the fashion industry since she was in college. She was a fashion director, and it was the worst job she could have ever taken. She just said, like, the job wasn't great. The company wasn't great. It just wasn't for her.
Ugh, that's horrible. And she said she thought it'd be her dream job. Like, what a horrible situation.
I know, it's very sad. And then she says she can't say a lot because she signed an NDA, but she got fired, and now she's like second guessing her ability. And listen, as someone who got fired from their very first job out of college, I fucking feel this. I was fired because I sucked at the job. The performance was not there. And when I tell you, I fully thought I should not be an accountant. I need to go back to school and do something else. But then I got a job with the company where I met Meredith.
Yay!
And that company was so in shit that like I could have done anything and it would have been okay.
That place was hilarious.
And my confidence is bad.
But isn't that funny how like you doubt yourself so much off of one moment, but your potential is something so greater. I heard a quote that was like, people judge you off of like your potential, and you judge yourself off of where you are. Like people are jealous over like your potential and where you're going to go, but we feel so stuck in where we are now.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. So it's like you just can't, you have blinders on your own situation that you can't even see like where you could go or where your road could go. Because you 5 years ago probably wouldn't have thought you'd be in New York.
Never. Absolutely
it's just
never.
wild like how things can turn out. So
we're amazing people.
This is a really relatable moment, and I really like that.
I really felt this. I liked learning this about Gabby. And Sister Danielle says she just wants Gabby to trust herself again.
Yeah, it's hard to build that back.
It's hard, right? Everyone's like, one mistake is not it. Like it's okay. That does not define you.
It crushes your self-confidence to build it back. It takes time, but I love hearing she's in therapy. Like I loved this moment so much.
Good for Gabby. Next we go to New Jersey. I don't know what day it is because Bravo didn't tell me, but we have Sharon. Sharon's with Carl.
Sharon is back, baby.
So Sharon asks about moving in with Lindsay, and Carl says they're a good team. We learn that Carl is 19 months sober. And he says it's all because of Lindsay's support, which don't sell yourself short, buddy. You did this.
I think it is amazing he acknowledges her support, because I think that does make the road, it seems like it makes the road easier for him. And this is what I do love about their relationship is I think they really are really committed to each other, like each other's health, wellness, everything. And I really applaud that.
I agree. I really like that this is happening for both of them, honestly. So Sharon's like, no matter what, everyone struggles with who they are, and like, oh wait, go back. Carl says he's struggling to find himself as a person without alcohol. And Sharon says that everyone's struggling to find out who they are, and you're always evolving, right? So Carl's just bad at tough conversations, but also when your business partner and friend goes off on your girlfriend, there needs to be a conversation,
I
which is
agree.
fucking true. We
Wish
shouldn't
wish we would have had it
wish we
Sunday.
did it. But then he brings up Curtis, his brother, and Carl. This was really sad.
I
Carl says
know.
Curtis saved his life because he saw how it could be the end if he didn't start taking things seriously. And even Carl says he like feels weird saying that, but he feels like that's really true.
Well, it's really hard because he said like he would give anything to have
Yes.
his brother back, obviously. I think it is good that Carl has really learned from such a tragedy, but it's interesting Carl's sobriety journey because and I think this is true for a lot of like young adults is a lot of socialization is built into like drinking situations. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's like how do you find out who you are in those situations? How do you find yourself not being in those situations? Like you are really reconstructing your life from the bottom up. And that's one struggle that I feel like is difficult that he's going through in a relationship because he has to build that while maintaining a partner rather than just like figuring it out for himself. And I think that's one reason they say don't get in a relationship for at least the first year of your sobriety.
Yes, but I do think if he needed, if like he had to date anyone, it's a
I
good thing it was
agree.
Lindsay.
I agree.
Lindsay's
I
the
just
best
see,
friend.
I can see on in Carl's like discussion with
The
his mom how
stress.
difficult this is. And
Yeah.
like one, that is one reason I think they tell you not to.
Yeah. Anyway, Curtis is Carl's guiding light, and then Carl cries and Sharon comforts him, and it's very cute.
I love Sharon. I hope we get her
Oh,
another
I
time
love
this season
Sharon.
because this makes me like Carl again.
I love her so much. Anyway, now it's Friday, 12 or 2:22 p.m. Gabby, Chris, and Sam are all headed to the Hamptons. We meet Davina, Gabby's hair. And her and Davina are in a good place right now.
I love her being like, I'm happy. I got my hair done. Like, I'm ready to go because this positive attitude, I need people to start having it on the way to the Hamptons so we get there and we hit the ground running.
Well, Gabby's throwing the party this week. She's throwing
Hell
an epic
yeah.
disco party, Studio 50 Forest, because they
Our
live in a forest.
first like real themed
Theme.
party. The
A
Italian dinner
theme.
did not count. Like, give me a theme, and I'm excited about this.
I'm great. This is great. So we get to the house. Danielle shows up. She finds Paige all by herself drinking. I love that there are like no TVs in this house. So Paige is probably just sitting
Oh,
there, like drinking by
I
herself on her
have
phone.
never tracked that, but it makes sense. Like, why would they sit and watch TV?
Why
But
would they
Paige
have
always
TV?
sits with her computer when she is
Yeah.
watching a movie.
Yeah. Okay. So Paige asks about last weekend. Danielle tells Paige about the slumber party. Danielle said she unintentionally hurt Amanda's feelings, and then Lindsay piggybacked off that, and then Kyle yelled at Lindsay, and then Carl left with Lindsay.
That's a good description of the weekend, I would
Yeah,
say.
and then we've learned no one's heard from Lindsay or Carl, and Kyle and Amanda are at a family reunion today, so we're not going to get any closure.
Which means it's
Um,
Kyle's birthday. I just put that together.
I know it's coming. Yep. So, Paige finds herself now only wanting to hang out with her parents now that she's old, and I'm sure this drama does not help that feeling at all.
No,
I feel that I want to hang out with my parents all the time.
I don't I currently live with my parents, so I don't want to hang out with them all the time, but I feel the vibe of like I don't want to do all of this. I just want to
Yeah.
sit and be,
Like my
like
parents never
chill
argue with
moments.
me. They never make me feel unsafe. They never
My
cross
family
my
is
boundaries.
full of arguments. That's our like family love language. Like I literally in our pre-show
But
yelled at
that's
my
your
dad.
comfort. Like you're
Yes.
comfortable.
Yes.
You're
But I don't want to
comfortable.
scream and yell at my friends. Like I just want to
Comfortable. I can't say it. Sorry.
yeah,
I'm
I want to
having
be
a
in
tough
my
time.
safe zone, yeah, of my family arguments.
Yes. And then Gabby, Chris, and Sam are here, and Danielle, I think. They go outside. And then Maya and Sierra show up. Sierra pours the biggest, like a whole bottle into a cup for Maya. And Maya's like, what the fuck are you doing to me?
I'm loving this. Like, keep the vibes high. Like, people
Keep
seem ready to go this weekend.
keep the vibes high. Okay, so last night, they all go outside to chat. So we find out Sam had a date with an Australian, and he even called her in a car, an Uber Black, to get to the date.
Would this worry you? Because she said it's really cool because then I don't know where I'm going. And I was like, that's a red flag to me.
If I know the person, no. If it's a first date, that's a murder signal for
Especially if
sure.
he calls it, because then you can't do the like share location with a friend type of thing. Like, make sure I get there okay. I don't know. This actually kind of freaked me out.
Yeah, this was a little wild, actually, now that I'm thinking about
Yes.
it.
Yes. I thought way too
Um,
hard about this, but I just wanted to say this weirded me out.
no, that's a good call out. But he might come to the party, I think. I think his name's Tim. They kind of cut it weird, so I wasn't sure, but Tim
Yeah.
might come to the
I'm
party.
excited. Let's bring a boy into this
Bring
group.
an
I need
Australian.
someone to have a regular hookup really bad.
And we used to love the Brits that hung out with Hannah and Danielle.
Like
I
they
love a man
become
with an
side
accent.
characters, and I
I love,
need that. We have
I need a
so
side
many
character.
girls. I either need a consistent guy or girl, it doesn't matter, but I need somebody consistently coming home. It doesn't have to be the same person, but I need people to bring people home.
I
The shared
agree.
bed situation is really hurting that.
It's hurting it. Okay, and then I did, Meredith, this one scene hit home where Sierra goes out and she's like almost she like goes towards Paige and Paige is like, Were you about to hug me?" And then
I
they're like, "We don't hug." And I
yes.
immediately wrote, "Oh my God, Meredith, is that us?"
Yes. Do you
And I
remember the
think
one time I hugged you
you're Sierra in this conversation coming at me. I'm
where I
Paige.
just
Like,
feel like I need to, but I don't want to?
guys, in case we haven't told the story enough, when Meredith and I were still working together, we went to a bingo night.
This was the transition from work friends to real friends.
Yes, we keep in mind we had never hugged before.
We'd never hung
And
out outside of work stuff.
I'm also not a touchy person.
No.
So Meredith, me and Mara, our other work friend, were leaving. And Meredith goes, "Are you leaving? Okay." And she hugs me.
I go,
And
okay,
I
bye. And I just
literally,
lunged in.
my whole face, even Meredith's friends were like, "What the fuck is Alicia's face?" My whole face was like, "What the
And as we
hell?"
were hugging, you go, did you hug me? And I go, yeah, I don't know why. And I just backed up.
I don't know why. And you back up, and Mara goes, "Do not touch me." And we just leave.
I was like, I don't know what came over me.
And now we hug, but we only see each other
Do
like once
we?
a
I
year.
don't think, did we? When I left you in New York,
I
did we
hugged
hug?
you. I for sure hugged.
I think we talked about it. I think we were like, do we hug?
We didn't hug every time we saw each other. I
No.
think I hugged you when we
When
were
I
going to
left the
Bravo
last
Con.
time,
No,
right?
I hugged you when I saw you. You had my bagel. I was like,
That's
"Hi."
good point.
And then we hugged when in the train, and I was like, "Goodbye." And that was it.
Yeah.
We do not hug every time we see
No.
each other.
No.
No, absolutely not. No. You didn't even get up when I went to the restaurant to meet you on Sunday.
No.
No, absolutely not.
No.
Horrible. Great. So someone does ask about Chris's dating life. He has not dated anyone for second dates yet. But then we have the age-old question: is a first date dinner or drinks?
I loved this talk. I loved it.
Listen, Chris read my mind. You always do drinks on the first date because if you do dinner, you're stuck there for at least 2 hours.
Yes.
Paige, I get. Paige, I get is like, but I'm hungry.
I
get
was
that.
like, I get the girl moment of being like, I want a free dinner.
But Paige, I don't think Paige is pulling total weirdos.
I
I'm
agree.
pulling total weirdos. Okay.
We need an exit plan. But if
Yeah.
it's a guy I think is normal and I really like, wouldn't mind dinner. Wouldn't be upset.
Yes. Also, Paige doesn't seem like a true crime girly. Okay. She doesn't think about being murdered. Sam definitely isn't. Meredith and I are thinking about this. I'd like to share a story really quick about how I agreed to watch a football game with a dude. And within 30 minutes, I was like, I have to go.
But
and
you
I
were
literally
committed to the
No,
whole...
I literally said, "My friend's in the hospital. I have to go." And I just left.
I don't think you told me that part.
I was out so fast.
Yeah,
I'm a drinks girl. Okay. A drinks on a weekday. So I could be like, I work tomorrow.
Yes, I agree.
Always have an exit. Okay. So, Gabby had a date with a tourist guy and she immediately said no.
I first, when she said this, thought she said tourist guy. And I was like, why did she go on a date with a tourist? And then she said it again and they talked about, being a tourist. And I was like, oh, okay. But I was like, why did you go out on a date with a tourist?
He's using Bumble Travel. And she's like, yeah, this is it. But Danielle's like, why do you close the door for everyone? And Paige immediately goes, she just said it. He's a tourist. And I was like, there are two different women in these worlds. And I am Danielle. That's just like, why? But
Ugh.
Gabby was in therapy yesterday, so thank God. Look, we know this is really important for Gabby. So if she wants to date only her star signs, whatever,
Here's the
that's
thing.
fine.
If she even opened it up to other people, it's not like she would actually internally be open to these people. So you might as well just cut down the actual getting dates.
Yeah. Also, she did go out with him and then said
True.
absolutely not. And you can blame how horrible he was on being a tourist, right? Like if I go on a date with someone and they're horrible and I find out they're,
A
I don't
Packers
know,
fan.
a Packers fan, I'm like, that was it. Fuck them.
There was the sign. Yeah.
I knew it. Anyway, so Lindsay and Carl are here. Everyone so Carl goes inside to get like drinks with the boys or whatever. And all the girls are like, Lindsay, you left so fast last week. And Lindsay's like, yeah, we were just ready to go with all the shit happening. And Gabby and Danielle both think that Carl was way too calm for what was fucking happening. And Lindsay doesn't know if it'll be weird with Kyle and Amanda. So this is why we have closure on Sundays, everyone.
Yeah. I think it
Now
does.
the whole house has to re-fucking live this again.
Everybody has to ask, like, what's the
Awful.
status? Where are we at on the weekend? Like, honestly, I'm thinking as a viewer, thank God Kyle and Amanda are at that
Yeah.
family reunion, because like I don't want my weekend. I don't want my weekend, and by my I mean their weekend, ruined by this fucking drama.
I don't want my Monday ruined by this fucking drama because it's not even good drama. It's about nothing.
It's so dumb. I wanted closure on Sunday so then we could finally have a fucking good weekend.
It is about nothing. It is about, did Amanda apologize or did Lindsay not respond? It is about,
and nobody's actually saying it to the right party. We're either screaming into the abyss or like just saying it to other housemates.
Yeah. And then the other drama is like, did Kyle like lose his best friend or is Carl just figuring out sobriety? And then the other fight is, will Carl stay at Loverboy or will Kyle like what? Who the fuck cares? These are dumb fucking arguments. You really want to make a splash? Kyle should go fuck Lindsay. That'll make a splash. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Incredible. Actually, no.
Shit like that.
Don't give me another Vanderpump love triangle type thing. I cannot handle two shows doing it. Give me like Gabby and Sam want the same guy. Let's see who wins them. Like Danielle and Hannah. I think it was Danielle and Paige had to do back in the day.
Let's have Carl say something stupid like, yeah, Paige is hot, and Lindsay get activated on that.
I'd take it.
That's great. Anyway. So now it's Friday, 5:48 p.m. We're going to one of our favorite bars tonight. We're gonna have fun. Chris says we're having fun. Everyone, get it together.
Also, it said 85 degrees on their thermostat, and I literally mentally started sweating, and I was like, fuck no.
Arrest the person that did that. Maya, Paige, and Sierra are all sharing a room together. They look at Sierra's really cute and dainty vagina, which is
sorry. This is not something I want to do with my friends personally.
I would do this. I don't want people looking at my vagina.
No.
So it's a double standard. I will stay out of it.
Completely. It is kind of funny because obviously like Sierra's in the bathroom and there's no cameras in there, but Maya and Paige are just sitting on the bed, and they're just girls do this getting ready, not the looking at the vagina. But I think it's funny whenever one girl's in the bathroom and everybody's just talking to her.
Yeah.
I enjoy actually the shaking up of the rooms. I think it's actually adding some funness.
I kind of like it too. Okay, so it's time to pregame at the house, and then we go to the bar. Sierra gets us some green tea shots.
Hell yeah.
It's looking good. Lindsay does have a moment to tell Carl how handsome he is all the time.
Meanwhile, they keep cutting to Danielle, like who's just kind of standing
alone. It's like a Lauren Conrad moment on The Hills where they keep cutting to her like looking, and I'm like, she's not looking that long.
No, I was like, this probably was like 30 seconds of awkwardness, but they take it and cut it with this conversation that it makes it look like Danielle has no friends in this house.
And the whole thing is 30 seconds. So you as a viewer think it's at least 4 hours.
Yes. It feels like Danielle is like all by myself. But I'm like, she would be hanging out with Paige and Sierra and Maya, like talking to people.
She does say like it's weird that my two best friends are isolating themselves. This is the
Yes.
first I've seen of it.
Yes.
But like, she's not standing there like, come back to me,
Like
please.
I can't talk to anyone else because they're not talking to me.
Yeah. Also, Carl and Lindsay grind, which I think
No.
Danielle made a face of like,
Yes.
ugh.
And I was like, I am Danielle when she was talking about it and noticing it, but then she obviously would have just moved on and like gotten her away from that. But I felt the same way.
You see two of your friends start grinding,
No.
you're like, oh
no. Especially
is
people who are
happening?
like your besties. I'm thinking of two people actually in my mind of this happening too. Two people who get along really well as friends and like the trio is really fun. And then if they started kissing, because I'm thinking of a guy and a girl, like I can't fathom it, but it was always a worry in my mind, if I'm honest.
Even when I third wheel a couple, if they start grinding, I'm gonna be like, ew.
No.
It's just us. It's
Stop.
just us, you guys. It's not necessary.
I don't like I don't want you to have to be so coupley that you can't be part of the group.
Agreed.
You're hindering the group.
Agreed. Anyway, okay, Danielle though, she's having fun. Now she's dropping it low with the girls.
Hell yeah.
She and Sierra are dancing together, and you know, everyone's like, wow, what a surprise. And they're like, you know what, we can evolve here. We're evolving, baby.
This gave me hope for the weekend. This was a good night out. We got a lot of great footage. I'm happy.
We saw Paige being like, Sierra, are you on the hunt for some dudes? And Sierra's like, yeah, but I don't want their numbers. And I'm like, yeah, because then you got to hang out with them again. I get that. And Sam she's shaking her ass, and Carl does this weird dad joke where he's like, oh no, that's gonna bring all the boys to the yard.
Oh God, that
like, Carl sober should not be at bars.
No,
he should not.
Sam looked epic, and I'm pretty sure she was wearing blue pants,
blue leather pants.
Yes, I was thinking,
probably.
I wish I had any ounce of style because she's crushing it.
She looked amazing. And it was all ruined by Carl.
Like,
saying
I'm used to Paige's wardrobe now.
Yes.
And so, like, it's not groundbreaking anymore because it's just Paige. Like, to me, Sam is like fresh and new, and it's fun to see what she's going to wear.
Their styles are different, though, right? Like, Paige,
Yes.
she's a little, I don't want to say more conservative with her style, but she does.
But she's more the Jackie O, you know?
Yes. Sam is letting us see her little cute body. She's got on these tight blue pants. She's fucking like shaking her ass.
She loves the like handbags, and I
Paige
love
would never
it.
shake her ass. We are watching this hot bitch shake her ass, and she's bringing those boys to the yard.
She's bringing the boys to the yard.
So it's 11:42 p.m. We made it home. It was a fun night for all. Gabby was thinking about the way people so we're in bed, and Gabby's talking to Danielle, and she's like, you know, I was thinking about the way people see me. And she says she feels, this is obviously a really drunk like thought. Yes. And she feels like she's secure, but she has some repressed trauma, and that's affecting her. And she doesn't trust her own judgment, especially with jobs. And drunk Danielle is like, I love how honest you're getting with me, Gabby. And Gabby's like, I'm so self-aware. Like, I loved it. And I was like, this is a fun, serious, yet great drunk conversation.
Yes, it's so real, because this has happened to me where like you kind of mask that you've got it all together, and then somebody points out something you underlyingly kind of know, but it really addresses it that you can't deny it. Like, you know, it's real. Like, you are kind of a mess. We all are. But
but we love it.
It kind of was addressed to Gabby that like, hey girl, you don't have it all together. And Gabby has to be like, fuck, all right, I don't have it all together.
Yeah, and Danielle's like, you're so honest. That's great. And then Gabby has a little moment of like, yeah, I'm so fucking self-aware. I am great. And I'm like, yes, fucking own it. Lindsay and Carl tell each other how much they love each other.
I hated this.
Again, it was the back and forth.
I hated that.
I have to relive it. It was like, I love you. And it was like, I love you more. And then it was like, I love you a million. And he's like, I love you a million billion trillion. And I was like, I want to jump out my window. Did I do good? Was that really good?
The only thing that was different is I think he said, he's like, I love you a million times billion to the moon and back.
Oh, Barb, he changed from numbers? I thought we were
Yes, he
sticking with
changed the
math.
numbers to something else, like to here to there. And I was like, shut the fuck up. I hate you so
And
much.
she's like, I do, you do? And I was like, what is this baby
She's like,
voice?
that's so sweet.
Do people do, listen, I know you want to talk cute, right? Paige does it with Craig where she's like, hi, baby. And you like lift your like voice a little bit, but the baby voice is different. And that is unwelcomed in my
It's listen, I can do better if it's just one word or two words, like where you heighten, like you said, when Paige goes, hi, baby, and then it's over and we cut to normal conversation. But the I love you a million trillion, and it's a whole sentence.
If it was a cute like I love you, and I was like, no, I love you, like, and they were normal, but this I love you by a billion but
No.
trillion shut the fuck up again. Anyway, we go to bed. Good night, everyone. Saturday 9:01 a.m. Carl and Lindsay are getting up for a workout and they talk about how much they love each other some more. And
God. This is actually where I think he says to the moon and back.
Oh my God, it hits. Is this it? They say it so much I can't keep track. Anyway, Gabby says she wishes she had hired someone to decorate for her because she's like, I have to do it. And girl, I feel this. This is a big ass house. We gotta hang up decorations.
It is, but like, girl, you're a newbie. You've never done this. You can't be tired of this already.
She did say though, if she had known, she would have just hired someone herself.
I get it, but it would annoy me if they hired people to do all the decorations for every. Because I think setting up is the shtick of it. It feels like they're in college when they have to like prep their own parties.
Look, as a viewer, I agree, but as a girl that's fucking lazy, I would also want to hire someone.
It is nice being in a zone where you can like afford to not do things.
Yes, like moving, like we talked about.
Yes,
movers.
Yes.
Okay, Danielle calls Robert.
Oh wait, really quick, did you notice that Sam and Chris also left for that workout?
Not at first.
I saw Sam get ready and I was like, whoa. Then I saw Chris's head leave the door and I was like, whoa.
I did. I saw Sam get up. I saw like what I thought was Chris leaving, but I was also like, was that Carl? And so I was like, I'm going to wait to see. So later I then put, oh, Chris and Sam are here too. But I
was shook. I thought Lindsay was going to stay behind whenever they were laying in bed for a minute. And I was like, all right, I dig this.
I didn't see Lindsay get ready or leave.
No.
I didn't know anything. Whatever. Whoever edited this scene was confusing as hell.
Terrible editing this episode. I'm just going to call it out.
So Danielle and Maya are downstairs and we're out of tequila. Does Gabby know that we need alcohol for this party?
Maya's a tequila girl, so I get this. Like, you got to cover your bases and be like, yo, where's my shit?
Mm-hmm. And Maya and Gabby do call Gabby, or Maya and Danielle call Gabby down. And Gabby, in fact, did not get alcohol for this party. So she's getting alcohol delivery. We're okay.
This actually cracks me up because they're like, hey, did you order alcohol? And she's like, no. And then later Maya's like, how about food? And she's like, no,
she goes, this isn't a food party, which was so funny.
I was like, we
funny.
Do food at these parties.
This isn't a food
I feel
party.
like a brief needs to be given to newbies to be like, yo, this is the level of parties we throw.
Or you know what usually happens is one of the OGs throws a fucking party.
That's
so
true.
The newbies know how to do it. So I can't even be mad at Gabby that she didn't know because no one else has fucking stepped up. And the slumber party doesn't count because Andre came and he cooked us an Italian dinner.
That's the thing is like in-house parties don't count because it's just a roomies hanging out. We have not had a party yet. And this is like the third weekend.
And why aren't you being like, why don't I help? Why don't we go call Lindsay and Carl to pick up some food? Why is it this big a deal?
We used to actually drive to the grocery store in the morning and two people.
We used to go day of to the fucking grocery store. Two people that were usually flirting would go to the grocery store.
Or who haven't talked much. So it'd be like Chris and like Paige would go do this.
We would have a scene. Paige and Carl have done it. Jordan and Danielle have done it.
Where you're like learning about each other, like learning about the newbie, especially like all those people on Twitter who are upset with Chris. Let him go to the fucking grocery store and get some liquor.
Even in Winter House when it's snowing and we can't see the roads,
we went to the grocery store.
Sierra did it. Corey and Sierra went and bought fish. Okay. This is not, why are we like, oh no, we have to get delivered. Just hop in the fucking car.
Why are we Instacarting this? No, the whole point is like reality.
We have people out right now. Tell them to go shopping. They have cameras with them. It's
I would
okay.
love to watch Sam and Chris stop by the grocery store.
Yes. I'm so upset at this. Anyway, that's immediately what I thought of. I was like, hop in your car and go.
I
Why is
didn't,
it
but
a
I was
fucking
just,
deal?
that's a good point. Like we used to always do this.
It's not that big a fucking deal. Anyway, so everyone starts decorating now, and we're gonna get ready for this party. Okay, so Maya and Sierra go in the kitchen, they have a talk. Maya's very stressed because things are not organized right now. And Maya tells Sierra that Gabby said she usually hires people to decorate. Which, if I was Sierra, I'd be like, damn, I'm fucking jealous. That sounds, we should have fucking
I'd be
done.
like, why didn't you? Why am I doing the work
Yeah,
here?
we should call the police on Gabby.
If you're
for
willing to
that.
pay for it, I definitely want to take advantage of it.
I'm sorry. Let's do that instead, Gabby. What are we doing here? Anyway, okay, so then Maya says she doesn't feel like she's cracked Gabby yet, but she wants to connect with her as a fellow Black woman. But they both say that Gabby feels really privileged, which is fine, but they're missing the authenticity of Gabby, which I don't think Gabby being privileged has anything to do with her authenticity. I think honestly, I've seen a lot of authenticity, I think, from Gabby.
Yeah.
I really am feeling her.
I think it's coupled with her being very polished and like kind of putting on a little bit of a front of like, I've got my shit together. It kind of goes hand in hand with the conversation last night. Like, I think Gabby tends to just have it all together, whereas like Maya is actually a very real person. Like,
yes,
no matter, like, I don't think I perceive her as not being different on or off camera.
I agree.
And I don't think Gabby is different, but I think behind closed doors, maybe Gabby like obviously has realer conversations, with her sister. I think she just keeps things a little closer to the chest.
Yeah, I think Gabby probably doesn't open up very easily, right? And like, think of Gabby in this house, right? There have been weird arguments that she's like not a part of, but she's had to witness. Then we have Italian dinners, and she's not going to sit around and be like, guys, I'm in between two jobs and I'm really doubting myself, right? The only time she really opens up we've seen is like in her room to Danielle.
Or in her interviews is where we've gotten a lot of information about her.
But I think like, right, you have Paige, Sierra, and Maya who are always rooming together. So Gabby's like, when I'm at my most vulnerable, you guys aren't there. Why would I then go to your room and be like, hey, I just had this conversation. Let me tell you this other conversation again. Right. So I think they're just not spending enough time with Gabby
in those crucial moments.
Like intimate settings.
Yeah. Good point. That's true. Because like when there's a new person that comes into a friend group, and I think this is what comes off as like mean girl behavior. And this is why I like Sierra and Paige get this dubbed a lot, is that your original friendships end up taking priority over making friends with that new person. And so it becomes cliquey, not intentionally. Like, I don't think they're trying to leave people out, but they're so focused on their people and like getting in that time with those like older friends. You want to hang
out with your friends.
Yeah. That they're not taking the time to actually step away from their friends and go, have those moments with Gabby.
Yeah, I totally get it. I just think like it was weird to be like, she feels privileged, but that doesn't seem authentic. And I was like, well, maybe she just is privileged. And like,
that's a good point, because this came right after the like she hires help conversation, and I was like, well, when I first saw it, I was like, what does her being able to hire help to decorate have to do with her being an authentic Black woman? Why does she have to like struggle through decorating for you guys to connect?
Also, everyone remember when Craig literally threw a fucking tantrum because he had to clean a house? Okay. Literally, people do it all the time that you love, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's a really good take though, that like her moments, they just haven't been there for them.
No, they and I get it, right? If I'm in a summer house, I want to hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
But like, they're just not there to see her.
Yeah. And they're conscious enough of wanting that from her. Like, it's important to them because obviously like Sierra was the first Black woman on the show. Maya, we saw last season her discussing with the house, like her being a Black woman in the Hamptons.
They just they can't be like, Gabby needs to open up. They have to go to Gabby and put themselves in that situation.
The onus actually needs to be on them as the more OG people in this house who are settled to make space for her to do that.
Agreed. Okay.
That's my perspective.
I agree. That's my perspective.
I can't speak to being a Black woman, but that's how I would want if I'm trying to connect with someone. I feel like that's just the easiest path. The path of least resistance.
I completely agree. I think just in general, as like OGs, you need to make the effort to get to know the new people because,
Mhm.
right, the OGs, think of like Paige and Lindsay and Danielle, they're used to being vulnerable on camera, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit at a dinner and be like, you guys, this is what's really hard in my life. I would be like, everything's all great and hunky dory and fucking whatever. Right? Like, why would
Yeah.
I open up? And they might be getting serious, but I'm also not going to interrupt and take their thunder. So people have to come to me to open up. They have to
Mhm.
give me the safe
And the
space.
number of people you're opening up to, like if there's one new person, there's 8 OGs you have to open up to, whereas like
Yes,
an
that don't
OG,
know
there's
me.
just one new person. So the
And we,
ratio is just so
yes,
different.
and we have to do this around people screaming into the abyss. Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that just caught my eye. I wanted to like
I agree.
put
I
some love
enjoyed
to
the
that.
conversation being highlighted because I hope then this progresses and they do get
Yes.
those moments.
Agreed. Okay, so this is where we find out Sam and Chris went to work out too. They work out outside. And if it's 85 degrees in the house, I can't imagine how fucking hot it is
Fuck no.
outside. Fuck this place. Okay, but they talk about how Amanda and Kyle are coming today, and Carl's gonna try and navigate this. He just wishes Kyle had some respect for his friends and relationship. Okay,
God.
so great. So we go back to the house. The girls are talking about what happened last weekend. Danielle said she's surprised that Lindsay wasn't mad that Carl didn't stick up for her. And Lindsay does think that, or sorry, Danielle does think that Lindsay and Carl avoid having hard conversations, like the conversation that Lindsay is drinking again in the summer house, but Carl is
Mm-hmm.
not. But also, that maybe that's not a hard conversation they need to have, right?
I see her point of like it feels like they're not having hard conversations. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, I think Lindsay is brushing under the rug that she wanted Carl to stick up for her, but won't say it because she doesn't want
To fight with
she won't
him.
be honest because she doesn't want to cause ripples or like to show other people that they're not a united front. Does
Okay,
that make
that's
sense?
fair.
Like I think that's
Yeah.
what Danielle's perspective is it seems like they're not saying things just because it's easier and they want to keep this like we're on the same page front up, but that's not sustainable if you're not being honest.
I guess. I mean,
I think the
I
example she used was off base, but I understood what she was saying about
yeah.
their relationship and how there could be
I
issues that they're just not addressing.
I just like don't know how much she knows their relationship, you
That's a good
know?
point.
Like maybe they have had this conversation before and Lindsay was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, I'm going to drink." And Carl maybe said, "I'm not happy with that." And Lindsay said, "But like this is why I want to drink." And Carl said, "Oh, you're right. Okay." Right? Like maybe they
Yeah.
already had it.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't know.
living together. Like maybe they're having conversations in the city
The
on their own.
the sticking up for her one, we saw that conversation and they basically just said, "I'm not upset with you." And so that was weird, but like,
Yeah,
and then they left, which I don't think Lindsay would have ever left if not for Carl. Like, I think
I
Lindsay would have been
agree.
like, Lindsay's great at confrontation. She's going to confront you over anything.
I think they're both going
Amazing.
along with things, just not to ruffle any feathers with the other person.
But I also think Lindsay doesn't want to ruffle feathers because Carl's going through this journey, right? And again, this is maybe why they tell you don't get into a relationship when you're going through sobriety for 2 years, I think it is. But
Yeah.
like maybe Lindsay's just being like, I'm gonna follow Carl's lead on this. And like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna get mad at Carl even if I wanted him to stick up for me, which again is great, but it's just not like the way the summer house usually is. So I think it's a
Yeah.
difference for us. And it's not healthy for the rest of the house.
No.
Because now we're like
Or even their
waiting.
relationship. Like she
Yeah,
shouldn't like Lindsay shouldn't just be again, we're just speculating, but like Lindsay
we
shouldn't
know
be
nothing.
quiet just because of Carl's sobriety. Like because
Yeah.
what is she gonna just do that forever?
Yeah, that's also fair. Meredith and I have absolutely no idea what we're talking about. Please take this with a grain of salt.
No, I just it's
Um,
interesting to see Danielle's perspective on their relationship because
yes,
this is the first time that like we obviously know the cracks that are current in present day. And so it's interesting to see Danielle walk this path
yes.
of slowly losing confidence in like their relation. Well, she never really had she was never really settled in their relationship, but I get
Yeah,
that. But slowly losing confidence in each of them individually and her
yes.
friendship with them.
I'd like to say I also saw a lot of hate towards Danielle for talking to these people that don't like Lindsay about this
Oh,
relationship.
come on.
I would also like to say though, we are on a TV show and we need to hit our beats,
And
okay?
this is actually a normal thing. If someone who wasn't at the house, no matter if
You
they like
talk
the person or
you
not, to be
talk
like, yo, what
yeah.
happened last weekend?
You
Like
talk about
you
it, you
were
ask
somebody involved.
You fish for information. Danielle's been on the show for goddamn how long? She
And
knows the beats that producers need her to hit.
And Paige and Danielle talked about it on Friday night a little bit
Yes,
too. So
twas
this is
fine.
more just digging deeper on like, hey, what's actually the status of things?
Yes, all fine, y'all.
Especially
Anyway,
with Kyle and Amanda coming to the house today.
I agree. I think there's this over looming like
There was a
what is
natural
gonna
catalyst
happen.
for this conversation, and that
Yeah,
is
what
Amanda
is
and Kyle
gonna
coming.
happen?
Mhm.
Danielle, do you feel confident in this relationship? Should we be scared? Like,
Yeah.
kind of like we're
What's
trying to
your
figure
take
it
on
out.
it? You're closer to them.
Yeah. So the girls all say, like, we feel like Carl and Lindsay are moving so fast. And
Mhm.
Danielle's like, I also feel that way. And I don't think it's bad to say, like, from my eyes, I think you're moving fast, right? It's
I think
like,
they're moving fast too,
I do too. It's been less than a
but
year.
I understand how they're moving fast because they've been friends
They
forever.
know each
They're
other.
in their
There's
later
none of this.
30s.
Yeah.
Like I can see why they're moving fast, but that still doesn't mean they're not moving fast.
Yeah. I get it. I totally get it. You already know this person. You know they're not a serial killer. So like move in with them. That's totally
And
fine.
like
10 out of 10.
they're
But
moving fast is kind of like just a fact compared to other relationships. They are moving faster. That's not a
yeah,
negative thing to say.
some relationships move really slowly. And
Mm-hmm.
that's also okay. Like,
There are people whose parents like met each other, dated for a month, got engaged, and got married like 3 months later. That
that's
was
fast.
fast, but
It's
you know
not
what?
that
That
it's not
doesn't
gonna
mean.
work.
Yeah.
So yeah, Danielle agrees. She said that they have a car together, which is what that's wild. You're gonna buy property with someone? That's fast.
Especially like
Anyway,
a asset that loses money, you know?
yeah,
That's
yeah. And Lindsay showed Carl the ring that she wants, which this to me is like it is crazy, but also like not that crazy because my dude friends might know what ring I want already, and I'm not even in a relationship. You know, like I talk
Yeah,
about
the
it.
ring thing freaks me out a little bit more because we have not even hit the 1 year mark. And
You move fast.
I totally understand that.
It
But if
freaks
the
us out,
whole well, the
but
whole like conversation about like Carl figuring out his life and his sobriety, it's like he's not settled in his own life. So they always say like you can't love someone else until you love yourself. And I kind of feel like that with your life, unless you kind of have some shit figured out. How can you figure it out with another person too?
okay, I do get that where he's like trying to be sober. He's obviously struggling. He's trying to figure it out with Lindsay. And then to like talk about rings is like
A
like you
lot.
can take a beat, dude. Like you could take a
Like
solid
at the
beat.
start of the summer, like the Lindsay and Maya beef was that like Carl was struggling about his sobriety 6 months ago in February. Lindsay had to go sober. And now, like, what, like 4 months later, they were like, Carl's probably showing Danielle a ring.
Yeah,
That would like freak
wild.
me out if that would like if we
Okay,
were in that situation.
I agree. But yeah, so they're all like, wow, to get engaged right now would be crazy. And Danielle's like, I know. And Danielle says she's just worried that they're in the fairy tale still, right? Like there's always this honeymoon phase when
Yeah.
you first start a relationship, but you have to like still get to know the person. Even if you're friends, you have to get to know them in the relationship. Like
Yeah.
your friendship
You're
changes.
melding your lives.
Yeah. So, that's the end of the episode. Next time we get Gabby's party, and I swear to
Fucking
God,
finally.
if these two couples ruin this fucking party, I'm gonna throw a fit.
You know what? I've decided I'm just gonna zoom right through their fights. I'm over it.
Great. Chris is flirting. Carl and Kyle talk while in costume, which I love serious talking costumes. That's a highlight of mine. Danielle and Lindsay also talk not in costume. And this might be the beginning of the end. And the girls
Ugh.
just think Lindsay's not being herself. If
I
Lindsay and Danielle were in costume, it'd be better. Anyway,
I agree with that. It is quite funny when they're serious because I feel like then things can like flow back into fun a lot easier when they're at a party and they can go find someone else to have fun with.
do you want to start for not fun and then I'll start for fun after? Or do you want to do the opposite or what? I only have my fun. That's why I'm like, can I just
let's
go
do
first?
fun. So you go
Okay.
first. Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Gabby.
Ah.
I think Gabby was a lot of fun. She's ready with
Mm-hmm.
her wig. She was trying to help Kyle at the yell into the abyss.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna throw this great party. We see her sister. We got to know Gabby a little bit better and what's happening in her
Yeah.
work life. We can all relate to that. We see her play tennis, which is also fun. I just think Gabby's being like really fun and really great. And I think she's finding herself and her footing in this summer house.
Yeah.
And I think she's just relatable. This would be me, right? I want to hire people to do work. I'm always a mess, but when I realize how self-aware I am, I'm fucking amazing. Am I right? I also can't play tennis, so she's better than me at that. But like,
I
I
love
think
that.
Gabby, she's really finding herself on this show, and I'm supporting it.
I agree. I think she's just being naturally herself, even if it's not
Yes.
like fully open, because not everybody is fully open.
Yes.
You know what? The one wish I had though, I wish her sister was coming to this party.
Same.
I love family members involved on the
I
show, and
want
I really enjoyed the
sisters.
scene with her sister. I think that
I
was a really
agree.
good pick. I'm gonna give it to Chris.
Yes.
I
Stop the
especially
hate.
because of the tweets that you like mentioned, that just really pushed me over the edge for it because I want to fight for him. He is literally identifying that this house is not fun, and I'm
Thank
like, and he
you.
wants more, and I'm like,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Chris. Yes, I really appreciate him like showing up, having the conversation with the girls about dating. You know, the ratio of guys to girls is really off, so that like isn't fun for a guy, but he'll, you know, sit and drink wine and like have the girl chat with them.
I loved that. Him with all the
Loved
women,
it.
that was amazing.
Loved the debate about drinks versus dinner for the first date. I know
He he even put his drink in a wine glass with the girls. Very
hell
fun.
yeah.
That's
Hell
fun.
yeah. And then I know we shit on the like working out crew, but I really actually appreciate Chris like willing to go out and do things and like go hang out with like certain like different people.
You know
Like
what?
he is putting effort into going and doing things and like trying to build storylines and actual friendships with these people. And I
Yeah,
appreciate that even if we're not getting shown most of this stuff.
I agree. Good to pick. Look at the newbies coming out on top.
I actually think the newbies are helping carry this
They're
show
delivering. Chris
because
better fucking come back. I'm gonna
the
throw a
real
huge
drama that's
fit.
happening is not I don't know one person who's enjoying it, and so they're like a breath of fresh air.
I agree. Do you want to go first for not fun?
um
Would you like me to go first?
I want you to go first because I think it'll help me decide on who I want to pick,
There's so
but I can go
many.
first if you need me to.
You go first because there's so many that I could choose from.
I'm picking Lindsay, and not for
Okay.
Kyle's reasons.
Wild. She was not on my list.
Well, I like want to pick Kyle or Carl and Lindsay together, but
No.
the stance that Lindsay has on this like Amanda fight, but won't actually like make it a real fight is really frustrating to me. The pointing out of the like Lindsay centering herself always and everything has always been a big shtick for me. And so like that being brought up this episode really infuriates me. And Danielle's conversation at the end about their relationship is it just leaving me with a bad taste in my mouth. And it's not all of Lindsay's fault. I'm not enjoying anything she is doing. Carl is just like
Fair.
apathetic. I'm towards him. Like I feel nothing. Lindsay, I'm just like annoyed with. Like I'm feeling something. So I have to pick her over
Fair.
Carl. But it is equally like their fault for their relationship issues. I'm
All
not
right.
putting it all on her, is what
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
clarify.
Fair. I don't support that because I'm a Lindsay stan, but I am gonna pick Carl. My main reason is he left. He has
Yeah.
been on this show since the beginning. I understand you're sober and you like don't want to deal with this and you're 37 fucking years old. I get it, but like we cannot have this looming gray cloud of like what's gonna happen.
No.
Oh my God, was there no resolution? You're fucking kidding me. You guys work at the same company. There's no resolution. That's so fucking stupid to me.
And one thing is like over the years, yes, Kyle would yell when he's drunk, but sober Kyle on Sunday mornings has really civil conversations.
Yes,
Think of the
he
Hannah
shows up.
conversation that COVID
Yep.
summer, the Danielle conversation earlier
Yes.
this year. Like Kyle keeps it pretty chill when he is sober.
He knows we can't go into the next weekend with unfinished drama. Like that is one of every weekend seems like a new episode, right? And that's what I
Yes.
really like about the show. It's like a new thing. And it's like, sure,
Mm-hmm.
there could be like like things that like themes that we stick with for the whole season, but we rarely leave on like we have to exit the house. And he if he didn't get caught by Danielle and Sam, he would have said bye to no one. He
Yeah.
threw his mic. I understand he's angry and he's trying to figure out himself sober, and I get that, but again, it's not fun to watch.
It's like he's
This
punishing
drama,
the show for the drama going down.
this drama to me is about literally nothing. It means absolutely zero to me. I couldn't care less. I'm more interested in the Amanda, Danielle, Lindsay moment because of how that started. Like, I think there's a lot more said there.
Yeah.
Kyle and Carl, I do not care if they're friends. I do not care if they're coworkers. I do not care if they apologize. These two should just like never speak again. I'm gonna hate their conversation next week. Period.
Yeah, I'm just over it. They're the center of it, and it's not interesting. I'm not enjoying it.
Not the show. Anyway, we have some podcast by the people.
You nailed that title, Alicia.
I was really like, ugh. Okay, so Tonette said, I need more space to unravel my opinions and thoughts on Sierra describing Gabby as privileged. Listen, I think that's all she says about it. But I do think Gabby may come from a more privileged background than Sierra.
Yeah.
There's also a possibility that, right, Gabby, she's what, 25, 26, and she's already a fashion director. She might have made this money herself and wants to spend it in a privileged way, and that is fine, and we support. However, yeah, I didn't like how it went from we want to bond with a Black woman to we're just not feeling her because she's privileged and not authentic. Like, I just didn't understand why those things had anything to do with the other.
Yeah, I get that. I
like everyone's Black experience is very different. But that doesn't negate them being a Black person in America and having to go through the things they go through. And just because you haven't taken the time to get to know Gabby doesn't mean she's like privileged
not
and
an authentic or doesn't have isn't willing to share her authentic story.
Yeah, you just haven't asked, and there's not an appropriate time.
Yeah, it was definitely a reach. I think them like being like, wow, she's more privileged than us. Like, she can hire help to do this. Like, okay, I get that conversation, but that should be separate from the authentic Black woman conversation. Also,
who cares if you?
And maybe it was help? Though. Maybe it's cut weird. It felt weird. So. It didn't connect.
It felt catty. It felt like, oh, she's not like our type of Black woman. That's what it felt to me. And I was like, I don't like how this was edited. I'm hoping it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they do take the time to get to know Gabby.
I agree.
Because I think Gabby's kind of dope.
I think the representation of color is excellent on this show now. And the people themselves, like, are really excellent reality TV picks too. Like, we talked about Alex earlier being a male of color, and it just didn't work out. And I didn't want that to discourage like producers from like picking another like male of color, and I'm so happy it didn't, just because not every person in general is gonna work on reality TV. But I think the cast that we have are all excellent stars on this show, and it's so cool to see then different representation.
Yeah, like, even though I hate on Sierra a lot, I think she's great on this show. I love hearing about her growing up in Atlanta.
You need
I love
people to like dislike.
Mom.
It's not going to be fun if you like everyone.
But she's great. Like, add her to the cast. I love Danielle. People think Danielle's boring. I think it's really interesting. Danielle. Her talking about her struggle with her hair has still stuck with me. Like, I still remember that conversation. So it's really important. And I think Alec, or what's his name? Chris. I think Alex struggled. Yeah. But I don't think he was meant for this because of his lifestyle. But I think at the reunion, he thrived. I think Chris, he's a great representation. We're adding in a Hispanic male, which we've never had on this show before. I think that's amazing. Let's learn more about him. Let's ask him questions about his background growing up. I want Danielle and Chris to talk. I think Danielle and Chris to talk.
Like, people are kind of like, I'll say, linking up from the outside looking in. It looks like Danielle like notices, like, Chris and I are similar. So like, I'm going to sit and talk with him. Like, it seems important to her to like reach out and connect with him.
She's reaching out with Gabby.
She is doing the work. Like, she is putting in the effort into it. And that's what I want from Sierra and Maya, is like being the OG that we talked about during the episode.
Like, show up. Yeah. Let's ask questions. Okay. Tonette also says, wait, hold the fucking phone. Am I the only one who noticed how plump and round Carl's ass is? Like, damn.
Missed
Yes,
it.
I did not notice. I was
I
too
didn't
busy.
notice.
I
was
noticed
too
Andrea's
pissed.
ass.
Yeah, you did. No, I did not notice Carl's ass.
He's
I'm annoyed
hot.
with him.
Like, Carl's hot though. Like, we can't
I know.
say he's
I don't want
not.
to look at him on the screen because I'm just annoyed with him as a
Ugh,
cast member of my
I
show.
get it. I get it. Okay, Dustin says, okay, or yeah, Dustin says, okay. So I retract my previous statements about Carl and Lindsay. I think they are good together after watching this episode. I don't like watching their relationship, but who the fuck am I? Yeah, who the fuck are we? Just people that have a podcast about the show, but mean nothing to these people. So
I'm fine if they want to be together for the long term. I'm cool with it. I
it's
just don't want a
gross to
TV
watch.
show about
It's just
it.
weird. He goes, also, screw everyone shitting on their parade, people in the house specifically. It's becoming glaringly apparent that these people, Kyle and Danielle, just miss how their friends used to be. It's a valid thing to be sad, but let Carl and Lindsay be. I agree. I think Kyle's whole argument is so stupid. Danielle, I think it's a little deeper because those three are the Tres Amigos, if you
Yes.
will.
That's the thing is I think Kyle is out of line. That's separate.
I don't
But
know
the
what he's
Danielle
arguing
of
about.
it, if Kyle took Danielle's
It's
route of like,
interesting because it's complex.
yes, but like even if you were in a relationship, I think you should still be able to hold on to one-to-one friendships. And if you can't, that's a problem and you can no longer be friends. And I think Danielle's at that crossing point of it doesn't seem like Lindsay and Danielle can have a one-to-one relationship anymore. It has to be a Danielle to the relationship. And I don't think Danielle wants that.
That's fair. I mean, and if Danielle doesn't want that, she has to walk away from this relationship.
So
But yeah,
like
it's
I get that I'll say shitting on the relationship in that way of like I don't think that I personally don't think Lindsay and Carl can hold friendships or are choosing not to
individually.
hold individual friendships.
I think it's also hard, right? Because they were all three of them a friendship
Yes.
and it worked out well because they weren't dating, but then the dynamics change. And I think it's interesting for Danielle to explore it.
I
And
agree.
I almost wish she was exploring it more before we had like a blow up, you know?
Do you wonder if she also thinks about how her and Carl used to date and they kind of
No,
hooked up
I
that
don't
one?
think she
No, hold
cares.
on. And that they hooked up that one summer, but it in her mind, she's like, nothing was ever different for me, Lindsay, and Carl after that.
Oh,
And so why can't they be a little bit more normal? Like if I could handle it, it's not the same situation, but I wonder if she thinks about how the three of them have navigated their friendship throughout time and how
I like that.
Danielle being Carl's ex, obviously could be weird. The over the clothes touching situation and like the Uber
The
could have
finger
been
bang?
weird, but didn't. The finger bang even like how come we could navigate this beforehand, but now we can't?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think this is interesting just because it's complex
Mm-hmm.
and I wish there was almost more of it. And I totally think Danielle, right? If my best friend has concerns, I would want her to voice those concerns. Maybe not to the people in the house, but we are on a TV show. We have to remember that.
Yeah.
But for Danielle to say like they're moving fast, I don't think is necessarily a bad or rude thing. I think it's just Danielle's opinion and she's looking out for her two friends. And so I think it's also interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how Lindsay takes that because
Yeah.
Danielle used to be the only person that could tell Lindsay, like, you're being crazy or you're the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Lindsay usually listened to only Danielle. So it's like
Yeah.
interesting that now she's probably not going to listen to Danielle.
Next episode, I think will give us a lot more insight into
Yes.
Danielle's thoughts
Yeah.
on this. Because I wish
But
I
we
could read
can,
Danielle's mind right
I
now.
agree. We can agree that Kyle's insane.
Kyle's fucking insane. I can't back that man up at all. The only reason I didn't select him as not fun is because he wasn't here for the second half of the episode.
That's what I was going to say.
And I actually, at the beginning of again, I started it off like cracking up because it was so funny coming back to that fight.
Yeah. Danielle, though, now that I'm thinking about it, I did watch an interview she did where she talked about the friendship and she completely takes ownership for her part in her and Lindsay's friendship deteriorating.
Mm-hmm.
She does say she wishes like Lindsay could take a part in that because she doesn't feel like it was totally her fault, which I think is interesting. Danielle also said she is very open to reconciling, but she needs Lindsay to kind of show that she is
like
as well. I think when Danielle and Robert broke up, Lindsay did not reach out or give any kind of love because Danielle said she's going through a really hard time and she like got really emotional in this interview. and said like she did not hear anything from Lindsay, but she said she understands like Lindsay's busy planning a wedding, right? And Lindsay, I think, like tweeted or said something like, I am busy planning a wedding or something like that. So I think that is sad to me, right? Like I would, even my ex best friends, I would never do that, right? I would stay silent, but if I heard
Mm-hmm.
they were hurt, I didn't reach out, I would probably be like, I'm sorry, like maybe I should have. Like I wouldn't I wouldn't continue to double down,
Or like and
To
publicly double down.
yeah, to like a best friend.
And
Like I think it shows that Lindsay completely let go of this love
yeah,
almost, and Danielle still can be
it
like,
seems
I
like
have love.
Danielle's willing to work on it and Lindsay's not. And
Which
that's upsetting.
maybe Lindsay's hurt enough. I don't
Lindsay
know,
did say,
but
I saw an interview with Lindsay and Carl, and wedding stuff was being talked about. I think it might have been Watch What Happens Live, but I can't remember. And they talked about guest lists who like would be invited. And Lindsay said she still holds out hope that she can reconcile her relationship with Danielle and Danielle will come to the wedding. But I wonder if Lindsay just thinks it'll be magically fixed. Like she doesn't have to do anything for it.
yeah, I think for when a friendship ends, like a friendship like this of multiple years of being best friends, I never think it's one person's fault
No.
because
It's always so complex.
it's so complex. The dynamics are always really complex, especially amongst female friendships,
Mm-hmm.
that Lindsay will have to take some
That's
ownership.
the thing is it requires both parties to swallow their pride and actually put their friendship above their themselves.
Yeah, because
And
the hurt cuts deep. In a friendship
mm-hmm,
like this, if you hurt me, it's deep.
absolutely.
So I don't have hope for reconciliation because I don't think Lindsay will. I think maybe after the wedding, when she's less I don't want to say self-involved, but like she is very focused on her wedding,
She's
right?
on a
Which is
stage right
fair.
now that is like a
Yes,
once in a lifetime, well, you hope a once in a
which is
lifetime
fair.
thing.
But
Yeah,
I think once that's done and she takes a step back, it's going to be like, oh, I can reconcile with this person. So I don't
mm-hmm.
think Danielle will be at the wedding. I have no hope for
I agree
reconciliation
with
before
that.
the wedding.
Weird other topic is wait, do
Wait,
we have any
Dustin.
more? Oh yeah, do we
Yeah,
have any
Dustin
more?
still has
Okay,
one more. He just said
hit it.
also Chris is a huge dork, right? He just seems lame to me. Or is it just me? It's just you. I'm here for Chris.
I think
Pom,
he is
pom,
a
pom.
dork. I think he's
In a good way,
goofy.
in a great
But
way.
yeah, like I think we need to cut him some slack. There are three guys carrying the male roles of this show,
And
which
two
is a
of them are
huge
so
burden.
stupid. Two of them are
Yes.
stupid.
Really quick, I wanted to
Yes.
also enter the chat on Winter House. We have reported Schwartz has arrived, has been filming scenes, no sight of Sandoval, which does not shock me. I think actually it is a bad move for him to be on that show. But I need
Sup-
Schwartz to address it.
Surprisingly, his narcissism has made him not go on, like it didn't take over.
Yeah,
Because
but
this is a better PR stunt.
yes,
Do
that
not
but
go to
that's how
Winter House.
narcissistic he is. He is trying to gain back the PR sympathy, and he knows Winter
He's
House won't do it.
never gonna get the
I
sympathy.
know, but
The best thing that can happen to him is he's gonna fall into the abyss and we'll never see him again.
I need Kyle Cook to step up for the people, and he does this sometimes, and I need him to drill into Schwartz and ask about this shit. I need the answers,
Yeah,
Kyle. I need you
yeah,
to come through for us because you know how to produce a show, self-produce it. So
yes.
bring it to us. Ask all the
I
questions.
I don't think Kyle will shit on Sandoval, but I think he will interview the fuck.
I think
And
he'll be
Schwartz
like, "Where's
sucks.
Sandoval? I thought he was coming." And he'll be like,
Schwartz sucks.
"Well,
Yeah,
he's
Schwartz will
dealing with
say
some
something.
personal stuff." Like Kyle will ask some questions to like bring it into the storyline.
I also saw a tweet, and I just want to, because I hope for this, so I want to like throw it out, and like maybe like God will answer any prayers I have. I read a tweet that was like, great that Schwartz is showing up, but I just need Sandoval to show up for 1 hour so these Winter House girls can
Yes.
fucking rip him a new one.
Good
And I was
point.
like, I hope that these girls are like, Schwartz, tell Sandoval to come. Like, we feel so bad, everything he's going through. We know it's not easy to be on a public stage. And Sandoval does it.
They
And
lure
these
him in.
girls fucking lock him in a room. Lindsay Hubbard takes the stage and fucking kills him.
And if they don't, I need them to
Murdering.
like get to the bottom of it with Schwartz. When did he know?
And I need them to all go in their interviews and be like, what a fucking trash human.
Because
And
I know,
because
you
he
know,
will
Paige.
respond. He'll respond.
That's true. But you know, Paige won't just let Schwartz like get away with shit. She'd be like, no, when did you actually know?
When'd you know? Were you hooking up with Raquel? Um,
The last
great.
thing I want to chat about is that TikTok
Oh yeah,
that I think you sent it to me where actually no, I think I might have saw this on my own, but
I
this
did
PR
that.
girly was like, what Bravo needs to do with Summer House is basically
Felicity.
turn these people into like a real housewives or a Southern Charm, basically get them just in the city doing their thing where they have their own storylines. They don't need to live in a house together. I think Lindsay and Carl could make that work.
Yes. I agree. I agree. I think you have like one cast party a week where everyone has to get together and film. But other than that, we watch Lindsay and Carl try and start a family. We watch Amanda and Kyle try to start a family. We
Mm-hmm.
watch Paige and Craig do long distance.
Yeah,
We watch Sierra do, we don't really know what
because you
Sierra
could
is going to be
follow
doing.
Paige to South Carolina in that
Yeah.
type of show.
Yeah. Let's do Northern Charm, right? That's
Northern
what that'll be
Charm.
because we're gonna have a lot of crossover. We keep Summer House. I saw what you said. Bring in new people. Leave
Yes.
Chris, Sam, and Gabby as the
Yes. And you
OGs.
can bring them, you can have them have special appearances on the city
They
show.
can flirt. They can flirt both lines, right?
But yes,
But they stay. Bring in
I
Corey
need
from
it
Winter
because I want
House.
to see Amanda and Kyle have a baby, and they can go. They
Yeah.
can still do their Summer House version.
Yeah, they can come visit for a weekend, get the babysitter. That's fine. But I
Mm-hmm.
think the main cast members need to be the three newbies we have. I think bring back Corey from Winter House. I know he doesn't live there, but he was great TV. I think we need to bring Rachel back. I loved Rachel. Um, and maybe that's it. Do we have any other newbies I really, really liked?
I don't
Who
think
was
so.
Julia Jessica? Did I like either one of them?
You hated
I
Jessica. We like Julia, but we just
remember
haven't
her.
heard from her in 2 years.
And Jason. Where the hell's Jason?
Fuck, give me
He's in
Jason.
Winter House, I've heard.
Maybe
Right?
he just likes the short show, and I appreciate that for him.
That I think that's Rachel's vibe too.
Yeah.
But the
But give
three
me
we
Rachel
have.
on the city show, like following her
Mhm.
florist business, like
Yeah.
incredible.
Northern Charm, you mean? Yeah. The three we have now would be a great catalyst to go into next summer to be
That
like,
would
we're back.
actually be hilarious if it was called Northern Charm.
That's awesome.
I
Why
just,
isn't
I
Bravo
actually really
hired
like
me?
it.
That because it's gonna cross into Southern Charm, but it's also gonna cross into Summer Charm. Fuck the world. Summer Charm.
There it is.
There it
Yeah,
is.
that was the
Hire
last thing I
me.
had.
Okay, great. Do all the things. Well, we're running. I'm tired. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining. Bye.